Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I'm here to give you my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It is not going to happen this day, but that's okay. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me is my co-host, Mrs. Best. Y'all say what's up to her. Oh, I cannot hear her. Can y'all
I'm
hear?
muted. I was
Oh,
saying happy Monday. Please subscribe. Shout out to Naya and Shani for both being in the chat. Welcome in, y'all.
yes. Hey, Naya, thank you for joining us today. Hey, Shani, thank you for being here as well. We appreciate you guys. Yes, please subscribe to Mrs. Best. Any reviews or recaps I do not cover on my channel, it's because we cover on her channel. Right directly after this, we have 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. You guys do not want to miss this live. It is going to be crazy because it was a crazy episode. But that's not what we're here to talk about, although it is. We're here to talk about Married to Medicine, y'all. Married to Medicine, they gave a lot without actually giving a lot. So we got some things to talk about. So the episode actually opens up where it left off, where Eugene is mad because Eugene said that the Met Gala in Toya's hands, someone said in the group that if we give it to Toya, we know it's going to fail. Eugene didn't like that. And he was mainly eyeing Damon because I guess we're all here to assume that that Heavenly was the one who said that. Eugene, uh, Eugene, let me kind of put something in perspective here for you. The person that you need to be mad at is Jackie, not Heavenly. Actually, you really shouldn't be mad at anybody at all. But I'm going to say this, Eugene. Toya does not need any help from you or anybody else when it comes to dealing with the women on Married to Medicine. Toya has been antagonistic with Simone, with Quad, with Heavenly, with Contessa, and slightly Mimi, but that's, teetering the fence a little bit because we really ain't seen too much from them. But Toya does great on her own with defending her character, her name, and her presence. She does not need you. So I just wanted to get that off my chest because Eugene was making me mad with this. Also, Eugene's Curtis says that he talked to Jackie, and Jackie said that maybe you can talk to the men about donating. So Scott says he's donating. Cecil said he's donating, and then Steve stands up and said, "Oh no, we're not donating because I already have an organization in the scholarship program. I unfortunately cannot give. And when it comes to Mimi, she doesn't even have a voice in this group to be a part of this. So, in terms, we are not going to be donating." And in his confessional said, "We're not donating another $5,000 this year. Not going to happen." And I said, "Well, Steve, you kind of did that on your own because no one had a paddle to say $5,000. You raised your hand and said $5,000. So that's on you." So they were all just making me mad with this scene. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about Eugene and him trying to hold Damon to, this standard of correcting Heavenly?
Eugene should not tell anybody to correct their wife when his wife has literally behaved like an untrained rabbit that's angry on this show since the beginning. Before, what they say, people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Eugene, you've lived in a few rented glass houses and some that you've owned. Just because you throw stones at your own household don't mean that the rest of everybody else is going to accept you throwing that at them. So I thought it was comical. I feel like this is just Toya and Eugene. You could tell from that Carlos King interview that we had reacted to with Keywan that
Mm-hmm.
Toya and Eugene are very aware of public perception of them right now. And I feel like they're doing kind of like publicists back in the day before social media. They're going through whatever they can to kind of save the likeness of their image. But I don't think Toya and Eugene realize from the beginning of this show's inception, his wife was the one to make things ratchet. His wife was to bring ghetto and lack of class to a show about Black excellence and doctors. So we've always kind of felt like you and your bitch was ratchet. I'm going to just say it. So it's funny that Eugene is trying to say anything to anybody, but I get it. You got to defend your wife. I get it. Reminds me of The Hangover. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie when they were talking about Stu's girl in the first movie, and they were like, she beats him. That's what it gave for Toya and them, except she beat him with her mouth.
Yes. So yeah, and I totally agree. Eugene was doing team the most here.
Like,
Now,
go to a treadmill, Eugene. Work on that. Talking about all this weight you lost. You still big as hell. Go to a treadmill. Go pay your mortgage. Call your mortgage. I'm sure there's somebody you owe that you could call and check or work something out with instead of worrying about anybody else's spouse. Please.
yeah, absolutely. That first scene was annoying, y'all. But I'm gonna read some comments and then I'm gonna move on to the next part of this. So we have DM Rocks here. Thank you for being here, DM Rocks. Hey, off topic. Robert Jr. funerals was Saturday. All the SLC housewives were all there, plus Kyle, Richard, Cynthia, and Sheree. I did read this. The camera. I hear the cameras were there, so I don't know about wanting to see this. That's going to be a hard thing to cover when they come back. Hi, Lexi Lee. Thank you for being here again. We appreciate you. Um, let's see here. You guys are saying hi. I love that you guys interact with each other. I love this. I love this. I love this. Hi, Hot Pink 25. Nice to see you again. I agree with that statement because all the ladies know how to be in women's business. They do. Yes, absolutely. Damon irritates me, and Eugene needs to let the rabbit go. I agree because Damon is passive aggressive, but we'll get to that later on in live. It was a few weeks ago. Toya was screaming you out in front of everyone. How how quickly we forget about that. Rented glass house. Gotta love Mrs. Best for her be her quick ones. Heavenly and Toya will keep fighting like cats and dogs. The husbands ain't gonna change a damn thing. The problem is that Toya is just kind of being passive because her name is on this Met Gala. And regardless of how it comes out of Heavenly's mouth, it is right. Heavenly is right. And the problem, and this is why I get frustrated with Jackie, is because I feel like Jackie is being passive aggressive by going to Heavenly and telling her all these things about whoever is in charge. She did the same thing last year with Phaedra, where Phaedra was delivering to Jackie's likeness. So she commissioned Heavenly to be the mouthpiece and say what everybody's doing wrong. She's doing the exact same thing this year. But people are overlooking Jackie because she's Dr. Jackie. But I felt like if Eugene needed to be mad at anybody, it's Dr. Jackie. But I get they don't see that. And because Heavenly has the louder of mouth, people are going to automatically pin it on her. But really, it's Jackie, y'all.
Even if they did see it as Dr. Jackie, because I've noticed the whole audience, all the YouTubers, everybody knows it's Dr. Jackie, but it's irrelevant. Toya needs to act right so that she could stop giving Dr. Jackie content to go behind her and have Heavenly to do her dirty work for her for. So
That
it's
is
not
true,
even
too.
Dr. Jackie's fault. If Toya would act right, nobody would have to do anything.
Yeah. Shani said, and that didn't work out very well for Dr. Aiden a few years ago when he tried to suggest to Dr. Damon to check Heavenly. I don't feel like any man should go up to another man and say, hey, check your wife unless she's being physical. If it's words and
That's
a banter,
disrespectful. That's
yeah.
definitely disrespectful. Nobody's,
Yeah.
even without a wife, nobody's going up to somebody else's spouse and it's like, hey, check your bitch, check your dude. Like, nobody's doing that
Yeah.
realistically.
Realistically, no, because it is disrespectful. Unless it's physical, we're like, okay, listen, because we don't need to go through this. Um, Damon can't control Heavenly just like Eugene can't control Toya because they both say something about people's husbands, but at least Heavenly does not disrespect her husband. Yeah.
That's true.
Um, are we surprised Jackie acting like this? No. No, because that's how Jackie is. Jackie is one of the ones that she don't want to get her hands dirty. And because she got a mouthpiece, hey, that's what she gonna use her for. And Heavenly's stupid enough to fall for it every time. So that's what's going on. So we did get to the massages. So everyone's getting massages. The men's getting their massages. Scott took off his whole shirt, exploring his, full C cups to everybody and exposing them. And I said, Lord Scott, we did not need to see all of that. But the only person who did not get a massage that I thought it was comical was Steve. Steve said, hey, y'all could be in the doghouse all y'all want to. I'm not letting these women touch on me and everything. And I was laughing at Steve. I said, good job, Steve. You understand. Um, as the ladies getting massages, they're asking Angel about Bernard. Hey, did he ever show up? And Angel confirmed that Bernard is there. He's actually with the men. And they're asking her, okay, so what are you hoping comes out of this? And she goes, I'm not expecting anything. We're just friends. So that, that's all that it is. The ladies then start asking Qua questions like, what is the biggest challenge in her relationship? And Qua said that, King wants her to cater to him more. And when Heaven asked, why are you giving him wife benefits when you're not even his wife? And Qua said, I'm not pressed to be his wife. I don't want to be his wife. I love that man. He loved me. And this is the way we want to do it because this is what I want. And then she turned when she was saying all of that. Qua said he did say he wanted to marry me. Like he had like this whole arrangement. We wanted to go to the courthouse and get married and everything. And I didn't take it seriously because that's not how I saw our future going. And I said, okay, everyone's entitled to, you know, run their relationships the way they see fit. Everyone's entitled to run their marriages the way they see fit because nobody is in them. But it just seemed like, Qua was trying to shut down the conversation, but I don't feel like that's really what's going on. And we know in today's time, they're not together. So it just seems like the tides began to unwind, and now we're kind of seeing in real time the issues. And we'll talk about that later on at the end of the episode. But Mrs. Best, how did you feel about Quad's response to the other ladies, asking her about the questions about, marriage and should she get married before she had the baby and all of these things?
People who make bad decisions in life in general sometimes struggle to accept hearing that they've made a bad decision from others, even if they know it. That is what Quad gave. That's what Quad has always given. I don't know. I get tired of seeing this. Like, it's not hard. People, I want to find a husband. I want to find a wife. I want to get married. I want to have the dream. You can have all the things that you want in life, but sometimes if what you want is going to last, or if you want what you want at a time that aligns, then you need to make the right decision. I see Quad doing what she did with Dr. G. She stayed with Dr. G for years and years on TV when we could all see that they clearly were having problems. She should have been left him, wasted time. Now she's with King. And in my opinion, if that man's demeanor switched up literally the next day after he said he wanted to marry you and you declined, but then you're expecting him to spend all this money to make a baby with a woman who could just walk away from him. I see both sides of it, but she should have walked away at that point from her relationship with King. And I'm not surprised on where they are today from what she explained in that scene. The other thing, people want to find love in relationships. And the best advice I can give to anybody is you can want this for yourself and think you deserve that for yourself. And you may, but it's not just about you, Quad. It's not just about you. I heard that Quad is only concerned about what she wants, and Quad is only concerned about Quad. And Quad will never find a man that's going to marry her and in a marriage that will last forever with that attitude. Her friends tried to tell her, but she didn't want to hear it. It's okay to have your priorities. It's okay to not settle, but you need to be realistic with your expectations of somebody else in a relationship. And it's not realistic to expect somebody to want to have a baby or be with you, long-term marriage or not, if you deep down, even if you have not expressed that, are only concerned about yourself, what you want, and the boxes they check for you. You got to look at it from both ends. So I feel like Quad and King kind of both stopped looking at each other as togetherness and are just worried about themselves. And that's why they alone. And that's why a lot of people be alone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Hey, Keywan, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. Do what she say, y'all. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Do me that solid. And while you're subscribing to me, please subscribe to Keywan J. Her information is also in my description box. Dr. Jackie winds up heavenly, points her a direction and let her loose. Toya getting karma for acting out again about the gala in the past. Yeah, absolutely. Them titties, though. Y'all stop talking about these people titties. I know I started it, but that's okay. We're going to live to fight another day. I would not help Toya and I would not help Toya and Eugene, but if Quad would not help them, it would be a problem because Toya and Eugene would be talking about Quad. Yeah, I can see that. Between contestants Scotch chess, can you imagine the Nah, yeah. I love that the ladies were able to sit there and have a conversation and joke and nobody screamed anybody out or curse anybody out. Yeah, it was refreshing to see that no one got into it, even though Quad was, throwing the theatrics later in the episode. I watched Carlos King video because he said King is outside. And he said, and he should know Quad when I take him serious. I mean, I don't think that that's how that started. I think that that's a result of where they are now. And he's just at a reset mode. I just think he's just resetting his life and kind of just being outside
No,
because,
that man has been outside. If you keep up with Atlanta or follow Atlanta influencers, I done seen King even back when him and Quad was newly announced. I done seen King outside. And it's interesting that all of his friends around the Atlanta metropolitan area are all accused of cheating on their women. That's all.
yeah, and how they have ties to Quad as well. We see him with Mendices over there buying Rolls Royces. We do see that. I do definitely get your point. Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about Dr. Simone comment to King when the ladies were walking away? I feel like she was overstepping just slightly because I don't feel like that's her place because she didn't like it when people were calling her out about her stuff this season, i.e., Heavenly, and talk about how she's angry in her marriage and everything. To me, if she had a better foot on that, then I wouldn't mind it. But she's one to talk about somebody's man, cooperating when hers doesn't. They dodged a problematic future. Oh yeah, that future was definitely gonna be problematic. I did not see them lasting. Um, I believe Quad did hurt King. He completely switched up on her. Wasn't meant to be. Um, I don't know if I don't know because that's interesting. I think Quad was trying to rush like this whole image of having this baby and having this quote unquote future in her mind. I think she more so neglected how he would feel. So if that does wind up as hurt, I could kind of see your point. Absolutely. But sometimes I don't know if that was a direct hurt to him. I just think that she just didn't include him in her plans when he had his own set of plans himself. And I think she shot down his while trying to oppose hers. I just think that that's just really what she did. Hey, Kevin Reynolds, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. King and Kim both. Oh Lord, Shani, why you bring up that man's name? Dr. Simone was disrespectful. It just was unnecessary. I didn't like that she did that. I really didn't. I was like, somebody, you know, you wouldn't like it if someone told you that, or you wouldn't like it if someone approached Cecil with that. You would get to holler and showing all 700 of your teeth. We don't want to see that, so we don't need you to go up to somebody and tell them what they need to be doing. So we're gonna move it along, y'all. So it's now the dinner scene. And this is the lady's first time, seeing Dr. Bernard on the trip. He had already had his day with the guys, but nobody really saw him get there. And the first thing that we see is Contessa's like, "Oh my God, hi, handsome." And Scott said, "Why are you calling the man handsome? Handsome? What are you talking about?" Baby, Contessa said, "Hold your skin. I didn't mean it all like that. I was just, saying, hey." And I'm just like, Contessa. I mean, Scott, you really ain't got nothing to worry about. Realistically, you don't. I feel like if Contessa is really going to stray, I feel like she's gonna stray with a woman. And that's allegedly. I don't see her straying with no man. And I just feel like she was just kind of lighting the mood. I don't think it was that serious. Mrs. Best, was Contessa inappropriate?
I mean, it's kind of not smart when you're in a relationship to comment on somebody of the opposite sex that you'll be attracted to. Like, it was weird. I don't think it was that deep, but it was weird.
Yes, I do. I do agree with Strange, but I just feel like Contessa ain't going nowhere unless she find her somebody worth leaving Scott over. But I don't see that happening.
When Scott's bra looks bigger than Contessa's, you got to wonder. So that's probably what he was worried about. I'm just
So as all the couples get there, Eugene asked the ladies how their massages went, and Simone said that nobody's massage went above the knee, so it was all. And in the confessional, Toya said that she's had some sexually motivated massages before, and she even felt weird about that. And Eugene was like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "You weren't married to me, were you?" She go, "Yeah, I was married to you." And Eugene was so caught off guard by it. And she said, and he was like, he didn't touch you, did he? And she said, no, I didn't get a finger. And I said, Toya, that does not help the situation. Toya be telling on herself without telling on herself. Like, what does that mean you didn't get a finger?
She don't respect her husband. That's not even funny. Like in real time, like that's the thing about Toya and Eugene that a lot of the audience gets bothered about. Because in real life, if
Yes.
your partner says, like if I like to get massages and I say to Mr. Best, oh, I went to get my weekly massage, but I tell him years later that while I was married to him, somebody tried to give me a happy ending, but was unsuccessful, didn't say it in a way that let them think that I did not want the happy ending. It just wasn't successful. Like, they got us messed up, Toya and Eugene. This marriage is a disaster.
It really is.
And they should
Because,
have known their marriage was a fucking joke when Carlos King wanted to interview y'all. Carlos King don't want to interview nobody in Black excellence. If you notice, everybody he interviews has embarrassed themselves, is in some kind of a joke of a marriage or on a reality show that should have been canceled. So that should have been like Exhibit A. If he wants to interview us, we're probably a joke. Sorry. It's
you
true.
know, the problem with Toya and Eugene, this is my issue with her. I feel like she really is living by the prospects of the 80-20 rule, where she's getting 80% of what she's asking because the man is paying the bills, working hard, feeding the kids and everything. But that 20% of what she is desiring, which is the sexually attraction, the bigger, slong in between his legs and all of that. I think that that is something she fiends for, but she knows that that is not something that you disrupt your life and pattern for. But she says it in ways where it's so obvious that you're not attracted to him. The sex ain't good. And like, it's just things that she says. It's like, Toya, we should not know these intimate details of your marriage. Like, we should not know this information. So, yes. What are y'all saying here? I feel like Quad did love him because I never thought Quad would want to be with the guy again, and I think Quad made the right decision not to do the courthouse. Um, Mrs. Best said I agree, but she definitely only worried about herself. If she not want to marry, they should have broken up. Yeah, Mrs. Best is completely correct. I cannot stress this enough. They're rushing this relationship because they have not been together that long, but in the hindsight of their relationship, and what I want people to understand is that the relationship based on this TV show solely focuses on what Quad wants and how Quad wants the relationship to operate. It's not about what he wants or his needs, because he said that he really didn't even want a second kid. That's what he told her. He really didn't want no kids, but for her, he was willing to do that, and that was a compromise that he was willing to make. But I felt like on the strength of him saying that, I just didn't think the relationship was one of us because they both wanted two different things, two different futures. So JB's in the house. Thank you for coming through with the like. I appreciate you so much. I think Eugene had King body. I think Eugene had King body. She would be nice to him. No, I don't even think it's that. I don't even think he had King's body. I feel like if Toya had access to one of them strippers that she had in previous seasons, where the eye candy. Remember she threw that naked party and she was just up there just a cheesing hard, looking at everybody naked. That's what Toya wants. Toya want like a thug, ripped dude. She do. She, you
That's
know.
what King gives. That's literally, you literally just described King, except he don't take his clothes off and got coconut oil all over his body. But he literally gives off bad boy, that he checks that little Jamaican bracket that all these East Coast women seem to love. And yeah, I feel like Toya would definitely deal with somebody like King or like King. And if Eugene looked better, Toya wouldn't be doing all of this. Whenever a woman describes her attraction to her husband as him being sent to her from God versus just saying that her man was fine, she's, yeah.
Well,
Toya's
she's saying that
materialistic
now.
too.
Yeah.
She's materialistic. All the lipo and stuff that she done had done on her body that we learned about through her Carlos King interview. Uh, Yeah, I'm sure Toya wants somebody that's just as aesthetically pretty as her. And Eugene is not that. Doesn't mean he's unattractive. I am not roasting him. But Toya wants somebody that look like they could go in a magazine.
I agree with that. She do. She won't GQ. She really does. Um, so they then played this little game. It was a couple of different little questions. One of the questions was who's likely to give unsolicited advice to the men? Everybody named Eugene, even Toya. Toya's and Eugene said, "No, I don't. When have I ever given somebody advice?" And she goes, "Come on, Eugene. You know you be doing that. I be on the phone and you just be interjecting. You be talking about this, talk about that. Eugene, you know you be doing that. Stop it." They also said, "Who is likely to turn a disagreement into a full blown fight?" Everybody said all of them, but Curtis gonna put Heavenly. I said, "Curtis, you shady." Um, and then the last question was, who is a person to call out the wrong name during sex? And everyone said Toya. And all Toya could do was laugh. I said,
So don't go no more crying at the reunion talking about you don't understand why the audience is looking at you like you're a horrible wife and disrespect your husband when even your immediate friend group, colleagues, and doctors with lots of education who are trained in critical thinking can connect the dots to see that your ass don't respect your husband. That wasn't even a funny question. Who came up with that? That was a
that was
question kind of
crazy.
like that Bell Collective question that what's her
Yes.
face had her friend Amanda ask Letitia's big ass. Like, why would you even ask that? And we knew it would be Toya.
Yeah, we all
No.
know that. Yeah. So after the game, the men and the women separate. Eugene actually acquired a therapist who was actually a Jamaican native who comes and talks to the men, mainly about marriage and all whatever comes. And a lot of the men, especially Curtis, was targeting King. So when the man was asking the question as who's had the longest relationships, who has done this, who has done that, um, they all answer it. And Damon spoke up, and this was something that just blew whistles to my ear because I was listening to Damon, and he said, right now he's at a point where things aren't going great. He misses his son, and he let everything bottle up inside of him, and he's at a point where he's willing to risk it all. Like he's saying, "Look, don't press him on the wrong day, because you know what? He's usually calm and collected, but for right now, he misses his son. His son has not been around because of the incidents that have happened with him. So he's saying anybody could get it at this point." And Curtis noticed, and this is why we're gonna get on Curtis. So Curtis knows that King kind of is sliding by and not, participating or not really talking much. And Curtis said, the reason why they may not have had success, in their journey, of conceiving and everything is because they're doing things out of order, according to the Bible. And I said, Curtis, Curtis, this ain't the time, nor is it the place for you, of all people, to be sitting up here talking about the Bible and things are out of order and they should be married, and here comes the baby, and here comes or here comes the marriage, here comes the baby in the baby carriage and all that little nursery rhyme shit. That does not need to come out your mouth, because like they said here, he without sin should cast the first stone. What happened with that lady up in Hilton Head? What was her name that you was at the airport with? Curtis, you do this to yourself. You should have just sat this one out and been quiet and just sat there, ate your food, or drank your little drink. Because for you to sit up there and say all of that, you was wrong as hell. And I'm glad King took it the way he did, because I feel like them is fighting words. For you to say that my journey probably was not successful because I'm doing things out of order, when the whole damn world didn't have babies out of wedlock all over the fucking place. That was crazy that he even said that. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about Curtis and him pressing his biblical opinions to King?
The Bible tells us that there are evangelists and there are people out there, such as preachers and whatnot, that can call you to the Lord and make you aware of Him. But it also explicitly tells you that these people are not the Lord and they are not to be followed like so. That's why I be thinking church is a scam, but I'll digress. Shut up, Curtis. I don't have much. It's the audacity. It's the absolute audacity of the situation. But this is common. People who make bad decisions themselves and correct it later sometimes get egos and feel like they can tell everybody else things. I also have felt like Curtis has had a chip on his shoulder since he got caught cheating. I feel like he looks forward to coming at or tearing down any other cast member or their relationship. And King was an easy target for him. But at the end of the day got to end, and don't nobody respect Curtis's old ass. Don't nobody respect Curtis's old ass. I personally think he is still cheating on Jackie, allegedly, overseas. He might have. I was shout out to Sandra Gen X and her channel. I was in her live this morning for Married to Medicine, and we was all talking about how he he might have a family hidden over there. We just do not know. So not only, sir, did you go against the Bible by cheating on your wife, but you're going against the Bible if we want to talk about the Bible, Curtis, by allowing your wife to be the breadwinner. That's number one, you bald-headed Negro. Number two is that in addition to going against it in that manner, you're not supposed to judge others. The Bible says not to judge. You have judged this other person. You've done that. And then in addition to that, you done cheated. And it says in the Bible, that's the one reason you can leave your man and you'll still get into the pearly gates of heaven. So Curtis can shut up, shut the fuck up and put the cigarette out quickly. Please be quiet. And then I feel like he's putting his wife in a bad situation because Quad and King's OB is Dr. Jackie. They just going over there playing in Africa probably because Quad don't want to marry him but want to look committed. Honestly, that's what I think is going on. But your OB is Dr. Jackie, and Dr. Jackie's husband commenting on her patients. Yep. If I'm correct, as someone working in public and mental health, that can also violate HIPAA if Quad wanted to get petty. So Curtis, I say this with love. Again, shut the fuck up and put the cigarette out. Just like Lucky's mom told her in Poetic Justice. Just do it. It's easier that way. Mm-hmm. And I respect King because King could have like really went in on him.
Yes.
But he held his cool. He held his cool. And I'm proud of the other men in the group for actually speaking out like, hey, that's not cool and trying to stop it. Because I feel like a lot of them don't express anything until it gets to the reunion. So it was nice to see whether it was in a confessional or in that moment. All of the men were like, you're going too far. You shouldn't judge people for that. That's why people don't like church. That's why certain groups of people don't align with religion. Nobody wants to feel judged. Nobody wants to feel judged. If everybody waited to have kids till they was married, the world would be fucking empty.
That is true. And the thing about it is he's supposed to be in a group of men that all share a common reality amongst each other. And for Curtis to sit up there and literally be all the face of the cheating scandals of Married to Medicine, tell another man that you're doing things out of order according to the Bible. It was like, well, Curtis, where was your Bible when you was cheating? Maybe you should have had your Bible in between your dick and her shit. That way you wouldn't have,
People come to the reunion talking about, well, the Lord says we'll sin. And Curtis, to add on to your list of sins while you judging King, you also cheated with somebody who you could have been her grandfather. Sit down, Pawpaw. Sit down. Because I ain't forgot about that either. I think there's a certain level of perversion. If I get to 60 years old and I am attracted to anybody more than 25 years younger than me, seek help. I don't care what nobody says. That shit ain't normal.
It ain't. And I agree with you 100%. So the men then commiserate around each other because, they excuse the doctor. Eugene, once again, takes this time to try to talk to Damon about Heavenly. And at this point, I was over it. I said, Eugene, I'm sick of you with this. He was telling Damon, listen, I wasn't really trying to come at you about Heavenly. I didn't even say her name when it was, I was angry at the table and everything. I just, I wanted to find common ground with you, because I love you, Damon. You are a friend of mine. So I really want us to be cool. And Damon said, look, I'm just going to say this, keep real simple. Keep my son's name out your fucking mouth. And I said, whoa, how we get here? Everybody was confused. And I said, y'all are not paying attention to the context of why Damon said that. I understood why Damon said that. He can't tell Toya as a man to keep his child's name out of her mouth. But he could tell the husband, because remember, Heavenly came to Toya with that to say to keep my son's name out your mouth because the whole group had told Heavenly. And I'm sure Heavenly ran it back to Damon. And Damon being in a moment because he just got through saying he's willing to risk it all because he misses his son. So Damon snuck that in there. And I understood why. But Damon, I'm going to say it like this: wrong time, wrong place, wrong person. Heavenly handled it. You should even have said that. Now, I could be reaching, but it just seemed like it was a touche moment. Okay, so you want me to correct my wife about her getting on your wife? I want you to tell your wife to keep her name, my son's name, out of her fucking mouth. That's how I took that because it was weird. But then when I replayed the conversation that happened in the group session, I feel like that was something that could have been either mentioned or said because he's saying that he's on the edge already. Am I reaching Mrs. Best?
A little bit. I wouldn't talk to somebody in a group setting about the beefs that Toya and them has had because it would just open up the group. So I don't feel like he should have talked about it in the group setting. Also, I don't feel like it should have been addressed because Damon, like, I know people feel their way about Damon. Yes, he's passive aggressive, and yes, there's situations where he should have said more and controlled Heavenly, as people like to say, but he stays in his lane. He's not getting involved with other women. He's not expecting the other women to give him the treatment that his wife gives him. And he's not commenting on the other women. Even privately with Heavenly, when she be trying to talk crap with him, he never like fully engages. He'll be like, well, you did your best. That's all he ever says to her. He will not engage. Whereas Eugene is cracking jokes about Heavenly even being considered for Congress and then laughing at their family situation as a reason why she'll never make it to Congress. And Heavenly ain't really said nothing bad about Eugene and actually be standing up for him, trying to be like, hey, brother, you deserve more. It's actually Quad, Contessa, who have called Eugene Eugina, big ass bitches, which he is and is proven to be true. So I don't know. I feel like Damon said he's on the edge and he don't want to deal with this. Some people, when they're on the edge and don't want to deal with something, means they don't want to discuss that with you. You should just know not to talk about nobody's fucking son, daughter, mom, father. Don't talk about nobody's family. You just do not do that. You just don't. And even Heavenly, people will say, well, Heavenly talk about people, family. She ain't said nothing about Toya's kids. She ain't even said nothing bad about Eugene. Heavenly just reminds people of their situation and they get mad about it. And when she says it, they be like, oh, you're talking about my mom. No, that's not what's happening. But Toya has laughed at Heavenly's situation with her kids, brought up her kid in the first, 3 episodes of this show, laughed with everybody else behind their back, talked crap about Heavenly, looked forward to tearing Heavenly down. And it's the audacity we have to remember of Eugene and Heavenly, or of Eugene and Toya. Because Toya, your man wouldn't have a fucking job if it wasn't for Eugene. So off the strength of that, Eugene, instead of trying to beef with Damon, be quiet and check your bitch. Check your bitch. It's that simple. So I don't know. People feel how they feel about Damon, but that's what a man is supposed to do. Stick by your wife, stick behind her, stick beside her, defend her. He probably checks her in private. We've seen Damon get mad at Heavenly, but if it comes to other people, you're not gonna tell no other man how to check his own wife. You're not gonna do it. So the fact that Eugene would do to Damon what he wouldn't want done to him just was like, oh, you really are a big ass bitch. I think it was Contessa. Your husband is literally the definition of a big ass bitch. And I see why she said that. Because Eugene is acting like a female. I hate a man that gets involved in a female issue. Gay, straight, everything in between. If you're not a woman, mind your business.
Exactly. Thank you for that, because we need that. I'll read some comments and then we're going to go to the ladies' conversation. When everyone said Toya and she didn't get mad, I was like, exactly. Curtis is such a hypocrite. Yep. I saw lots of ladies King comments saying how fine he is and how quiet is a terrible person. They did the same thing with Dr. G. Like, they did the same thing when it came, not saying he was fine, but they made the downfall all Quad's fault because she wouldn't give him a baby. I'll never forget that. I was like, y'all are crazy for people who really be thinking it's Quad's fault that marriage unraveled. I'm sorry, because I will be saying, how many times did you cheat on your wife? Right. Dr. Jackie better than I ever could have been. Curtis didn't allow Jackie to adopt a baby. Curtis.
But he want to tell them something.
Right. Crazy. Curtis, did you say that to the young single moms out there of the young boys that you mentor on the basketball team or the golf course? Great question, Shani. How many people did you cheat on with Jackie? He'll never tell us. We only caught him in one time, but I'm more than sure. Allegedly. I think allegedly he left a young tenderoni at the golf tournament in Canada. Allegedly. Dominican Republic as well. You can't tell me he went to Dominican Republic. All that ass that be out there. Oh, yeah. But allegedly. My name is alleged too. Jackie and Curtis in separate rooms, or are they not having sex with each other? They're never around each other. He always gone. He always is gone. That's right, Dr. Jackie. Do you agree with Curtis? Did you say something to that young singles moms that you treat? Ooh. No, because Jackie get paid a lot of money. Jackie get her money up front, allegedly. That's what I heard before you even see her. So, you know. I'm not talking to Curtis with love. Shut up, Curtis. I have no love for that weirdly tall man. How are you a Christian with values, but you cheat? Bye. Thank you. Hot Pink, I be feeling Jackie keeps Curtis in the pool house. Oh, like Jennifer Aiden and Bill. That's funny. The only reason why Curtis gets laid is because he is Jackie's husband to me. He is not sexy or attractive. Absolutely. He's all married to medicine. Girls just like him. And, and some girls do like really tall men and don't look past that. Bald headed, tall men, they might mistake him for Michael Jordan. You never know. Must be rough out there for young women to be dating Curtis. Must be. Curtis be walking like that tree. Stop. Curtis probably swiping Jackie credit cards for these young 304s. They would not entertain him unless he's doing something for them. Jackie would be crazy as hell if she let Curtis use her credit card and her finances. This is
Promise you
best.
he is, because coaching and all of that can't be making that much for the constant travel. I'm not saying his salary is small, but
Right.
for what he does and how much he travels,
Yep. Um, I mean, it's a fame on the show. Probably. You never know what Curtis be promising people. Keep them kids and the babies out of it. Yep. Yes, definitely young 304 is dealing with Curtis. She reminds them of Eugene and Toya's situation and what Toya complains about with her husband. For sure. Who you were talking about in that instance. I hope Toya don't get them kids in trouble with the law.
they want to get away from them so they can have a stable home. I feel like her kids are going to come out very well. They just want stability.
And Dr. Damon has never once told you, Eugene, you need to check Toya. She can be real disrespectful. Clock it. We all see why she called him that. What does Curtis do for a living? Probably the same thing Cecil does. No, Curtis is like,
Wasn't he in the NBA at one point, like a
he
very
was.
long time ago? So I
Yeah,
imagine he probably has income from that. But it sounds like he just be coaching kids. And that doesn't afford you the income to hop on flights constantly to Canada and Dominican Republic and God knows wherever else. So I'm pretty sure that Jackie is helping to fund their life.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Ain't he hired? But yeah, he is a basketball coach and mentor. He was like a coach at like a school or something. That's the last I knew. But we gonna keep it on because we got to get to Mrs. Best channel, y'all. So there was two other things I wanted to mention. When the ladies were having their conversation, they once again pressed Quad about the King situation. Y'all leave this alone. This is beating a dead horse with Quad and King. She already done told y'all.
If people
Me,
ain't married, just let your friends do what they do. If they're not married, just let them do what the hell they do. It's not worth the talk.
absolutely. Mimi talks about how hard it is parenting with a child that has, special needs. And she says that there's so much that goes into it that, there are times where she feels like she needs her husband, not the kid's father, not her business partner. She needs her husband. She wants him to check on her and make sure that she's good. And, and with their current life, they don't know how long this will affect their son. They don't know if he would have to be with them for the rest of his life. They don't know anything. So, my heart goes out to Mimi because I appreciate her sharing that. And, I want her to, find a, I don't know, like a support group for this. So that way it helps her because I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure that they're out there and I'm sure that this will help her, with getting even more support because that's a lot. to deal with. So my hopes is up for her. Anything you want to say on the matter, Mrs. Best, with Mimi or Quad?
No,
Okay.
it's unfortunate. It's good she is bringing more awareness to autism. I think autism is scarier for African American children and boys. I've seen them mistreated, kids on the spectrum, when I was working in behavioral therapy. But it's hard. Her feelings were normal for a lot of special needs parents. I think it was good that she understands when to release and when not to release. They're doing the best they can.
Yeah, absolutely. But I commend them and proud that they are sharing this because this is not easy and this is not something that the world is going to, take like, oh my gosh, and build them up for. I know I'm sure there's a lot of judgment in where this is coming. So brave of them to share this. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is Quad and King. They're back from Jamaica, they're in Atlanta, and they begin talking about, everything that has happened. She starts up the conversation that Dr. Jackie has sent her countless text messages talking about apologies for what Curtis has said. And she said, Curtis must have said a doozy out there because Dr. Jackie is just blowing up my phone with a whole bunch of text messages. I say, yeah, she hoping you don't sue her ass. So, because there's video evidence of this shit now. Because King didn't say anything, in greater detail. So I'm just saying, yeah, Jackie making sure that this didn't come from her. She don't know what he doing and all this. But the conversation then turns, after he explains to her what the conversation was with the men, they're talking about their relationship and he feels that, she doesn't appreciate him enough and everything. And Quad was like, wait, now hold on, pump your brakes. Because I always uplift you. I always speak words, empowering you and everything. He goes, well, that's nice for it to be words, but your actions don't show that. I need to see actions when it comes to the things that you uplift me about. And when I was listening to him, I was like, oh, wow. Because to me looking at this situation, I feel like she has held him on like a really big pedestal more than she's held her marriage to Dr. G in. Like I feel like she has idolized you, said all kind of great things, bringing you around her friend group, which I don't think if Quad was really like ready to show somebody off, she would have. She tends to be private. And I am just looking at this man like, whoa, okay. So now we're seeing the tides unwind now because Quad was like, wait, I do everything, and looking at Quad, I'm like, girl, this is the wrong road. This is the wrong road, but I understand because Quad is that natural Taurus. She's a Taurus person. We are stubborn in our ways, but we feel that the way we do things is the correct way, and there's no other way we could do better. A lot of the time, a lot of us Tauruses struggle with that. We do. So when I was listening to both of them talk about he needs his, love language to be nourished and everything, and she's saying that she is doing it, but it's the way she knows how to do it. It's kind of like, damn, I don't know how to really take this because I myself struggle with not meeting someone where they are when it comes to what they need from me because I feel the way that I do it is the correct way to do it. Mrs. Best, I have to ask you, when you think of what this man is telling Quad and how Quad is saying she is doing it, but it's the way she knows how to do it, do you think he's being too hard on her or do you think that his needs are valid?
I'm about to drop out, but it's actually, I mean, like you said, she brought you on the show. She toted you in front of the whole world, called you attractive, made you food. It sounds like she was cooking every day and all of that. So I think King is just one of those men where he will passive aggressively shut his woman down when he's not getting his way. But we're just seeing why this relationship wasn't going to work. And again, this is why nobody should rush to marriage. You shouldn't be getting married unless you've been with someone consistently for a year. And even then, I feel like that is too soon because anything can happen in a year. And look at these people. So I'm tired of Quad King, honestly. And I'm not surprised. I said this when she showed him off for the first time in our review. They ain't going to last. I've been saying it the whole time. And I get because for YouTube purposes, bloggers, influencers like myself, James, and everyone else, like we have to talk about it. But at the end of the day, y'all, this is the first man that she's publicly been with since her divorce. I did not expect it to work. Not because it's a rebound, not because of anything else, but 9 times out of 10, you're not marrying the first like serious relationship you get after you end one.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. And then 15 times a day for sex, like if you're with the right person, that can last, but sex is sex. You could get good sex anywhere.
Sure can.
So, I mean,
Yeah. I appreciate that. Appreciate you staying in. I'll be at your channel in just 1 second. Let me go ahead and end this. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But you guys, we're gonna go to Mrs. Best channel to go over 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. But that was pretty much the episode. It was a good episode. Let me know how you guys felt about it. Let me know what your thoughts on Quad and King, Eugene and Damon, Eugene and Toya, Damon and Heavenly, Curtis with this whole Bible talk. Let me know what your guys' thoughts were. That I would love to hear it. Shout out to my replay gang. I do not, unacknowledge you guys. You guys are definitely here keeping my channel alive. I appreciate you so much. Leave a comment. I will definitely respond to it. But yes, please go over to Mrs. Best channel so we can talk about 90 Days Fiance. I will see you guys there. I appreciate you once again. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.